Welcome to the Make and Design podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner, and today I want to talk about the 3 mistakes new designers make and how we can avoid them. You guys, I see these over and over and over and over again. I see them in my own programs, even though we try to get people not to do them. And so I'm going to give them to you here. This is like kind of a sneak peek. If you're a brand new designer, you do not want to miss this episode, and I highly recommend you take notes. It's a fast, quick episode, but it's going to really help you understand what you are doing wrong that's causing you to not make money now. Okay, so really big. All right, so the first thing is we're really gonna just jump in, you guys. The first thing is you want to do everything. So you are a designer who loves to do everything. Therefore, you spread your time out among everything. So what does that look like? So maybe you are busy spending your time making stickers, and then tomorrow you start working on a fabric line, and the day after that you start working on die cut files, and the day after that you are building these clip art things that are really, really cool, and the next day after that you are doing some kind of cool resin thing and doing you're just all over the place. And I will tell you that doing everything is the main way you will not win as a designer. That this will not be a business, this will be a hobby, because you're doing what feels good, not doing what needs to be done in order to make a business go, okay? And so this mistake is the one I see the most often, people doing a little bit of everything over a long period of time, and then they get very confused because they're like, I've been doing this for a year, why isn't it working? And it turns out they've got a few stickers out there, they've got a few die cut files, they've got a couple of fabric lines, they have a few clip art items, they have some fun embroidery things, and so they haven't really done what's necessary in order to make income as a designer, because they're spread so thin over so many different areas that they are not known for anything. And so being spread out like that, even over a long period of time, even though you have like 100 products, it's going to kill you because it just doesn't show that you're an expert at anything, okay? So number one rule, this is the number one thing we actually work with our designers to do, and that is not be spread out over lots of things. Instead, the main way to avoid this is to choose the one thing that you really, really want to do and you stick to it, okay? In our Design Suite program, we call this area of focus, okay? And it's really meant to be an area of focus, okay? And that is how you avoid this craziness of doing a little bit of everything, even though it's very enjoyable. We like to do a little bit of everything as designers. It is the thing that keeps you from actually making money. So if you're a new designer and you've been thinking about all the things, now's the time to focus down and choose the one thing, okay? So there's your first thing. Your second thing, that the biggest mistake I see new designers do is they start on social media way too quick. Oftentimes when we're new designers, we've got to figure out really what our first area of focus is going to be, but also how we're really going to get started. You know, what's the thing that's going to move us forward, okay? And because of that, we haven't really figured out our style yet. We have not figured out our brand yet. And so we start posting on social media just a little too early, when it doesn't make the most sense to be posting on social media, when we really haven't established anything about ourselves and we haven't started making money. Now you might be like, but social media is how I make money. And the answer to that is no. Okay, that's one of the number one ways I know that you are brand new. No, you're not going to make money on social media. You are not. That is not how we make money as designers, okay? We are not influencers. We are designers. And so if you start there, I am telling you, okay, that this is one of the biggest mistakes I see designers doing, okay? I also have designers who tell me, well, I have a big following, so I feel like I don't want to let it go. And I'm like, well, tell me how big it is. They're like, oh, 5,000 people. I'm like, that is not a big following. That is not life-changing, money-making following. It's not, guys, okay? Oh, maybe I have 25,000. Okay, that's awesome. Keep posting there, but don't post all your design stuff yet, okay? Because you haven't built enough brand here to make it worth it, okay? New designers. don't post on social media in the first year. Okay. Now, once you are down the road a ways, and this is part of the reason we started our Marketing for Creatives membership, because it's really kind of something we built for after Design Suite for our designers, is because we started to see that new designers actually needed a way to start building a brand after the fact. So that's a really cool piece of this whole thing that you are going to want as you move forward, is starting to build that brand. Okay. But not, there's like a good time for everything, you guys. And new designers, it's not on social media. Okay. The third thing that I see so very often is true burnout. What is burnout? Burnout is when you're like doing all the things in your new business, because you're a new designer, new business. You've got to make all the new products. You got to create a logo for yourself. You have to get on social media, unless you just did the thing I told you not to do, which is don't get on social media. And you're doing all this research and you're trying to like get new products out and you're trying like all these things. Okay. Burnout is real. And I will tell you in particular, the times I see it is at the 3-month mark, the 6-month mark, the 1-year mark, and so forth. Okay. Burnout is very problematic, because what happens is that you just can't move forward when you're in burnout. Like you literally cannot do anything. That's the way burnout is for me. Like I have to have several days off because I've burned out. I can't think straight. I'm not making good decisions about the way I'm designing, and I just have to take a big break. Okay. So how do we avoid burnout? It's actually very simple, and few of you are going to do it, but I'm going to tell this to you for those of you who actually do this correctly, and you'll hear me talk about it more in our design bootcamp, because it's one of our pillars of day 2 that we talk about, and that is you have to create a very solid plan. And we like planning a couple of different ways. In fact, we created daily planners literally for our Design Suite members so that we could avoid this whole burnout thing, because we were seeing it so much. You can learn about our daily planners by going to designsuitecourses.com/daily planner. If you want to go check those out, there's some videos there that show you how we daily plan with our Design Suite members and giving you options for it. But I cannot recommend enough that the main way to avoid burnout is to simply have a plan. One of the problems with, and the reason burnout kind of happens, especially around the 3-month mark, is you're very excited about your business. So what do? You start making products, you start learning the software, and you start going in overdrive. So you're putting in a lot of hours, you're putting in a lot of after hours, you are like, you're learning so many things, and your brain is just like exploding. Okay. There comes a point where it just doesn't feel fun anymore, right? Instead, it feels like, whoa, this is like, I've done so much work. And at the 3-month mark, the reason I point that out is you don't see any progress usually at the 3-month mark. It's too early in the business. You've done very, very little at this point, even though it feels like you've done a lot. You're basically going slow to go faster eventually. And so because of that, it's really difficult during that time to realize like, oh my gosh, like I'm making big progress, but it feels like I've done nothing. Okay. And so the reason planning really alleviates this is, especially if you can put together weekly plans, and then eventually my recommendation is monthly, quarterly, and yearly plans. What you can see is what's happening. Like I can see the trajectory of my businesses over the next 9 months to a year, and then even further out as I put together 1 year, 3 year, and 10-year plans. Okay. Now you might be like, whoa, Carina, 10-year plans, I can't do that. Not right now. You're not going to do that right now, but simply putting a weekly plan in place where you're being very smart about your time is going to make a huge difference with the burnout. Because one of the things I can do is I can say, there's this big project, I really need to get it done. I don't have time to do it this week. And I can lay it out onto my calendar next week, and I just feel at ease. Like it is going to happen. It's just not going to happen this second. And so the burnout doesn't happen because it's finding a place on my calendar to make it all work. Okay. All right. Those are your 3 things, guys. If you're a new designer, stop doing these things. Okay. You're not going to do everything. You're not going to start with social, and you're not going to burn out. Okay. Because you're going to be really smart. You're going to plan. You're going to be really smart. You're going to be a planner. You're going to find an area of focus. And you're not going to start on social. Okay, which is a really good thing in the meantime. And if you're like, man, I wish that someone would help me with these things, these are the things we do in Design Suite. These are the things that we get really deep into Design Suite. Now, while we don't do these specific things in our Design Bootcamp, the only way to come into Design Suite is to come into a Design Bootcamp. You can come to a Design Bootcamp by going to designsuitecourses.com/Design Bootcamp. Usually costs about $27 to come to one of these. We have replays and we have lives, so see what's available. And it's 5 days of amazing workshops that's going to really help you change some mindsets that you've had about creating your own design business, okay? We even throw in some bonus videos in there on Illustrator. I think you'll really enjoy it. And then you also will have the opportunity to come into Design Suite if you are interested in it at that point. All right, you guys, I'm excited for you not to do everything, not to do social, and to not burn out. You guys have got this thing. So new designers, get going. Want to hang out more? Go to designsuitecourses.com/free to get our weekly freebies and patterns, die cut files, and more. Can't wait to see you there.